Today on Studio One, food and culture go hand in hand. We'll visit a restaurant that is bringing Mongolian culture to the prairie. Also, people have customized cars for years. We'll take a look at the new trends in making your vehicle eye-catching. And knowing when to fire is crucial for law enforcement. We'll show you a high-tech system that provides realistic training.
From the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, this is Studio One.
Hi everyone and welcome to Studio One. I'm Monty Cashel.
And I'm Jill Gustafson.
Well, one of the things we're going to be talking about today is sailing, actually.
Yeah.
You're going to get a chance to talk to somebody who competitively sails.
Right.
Knows their stuff.
She's been doing it for quite a while.
Right.
So
and have you ever been on a boat before where you were actually sailing?
I have. It was a small little trip with my family, so it doesn't
Was it a
really...
good experience, or was it high seas and rolling around?
Well, it was a good experience, but apparently if it's 50 degrees out, that doesn't necessarily mean that you should wear warm things on a boat because the sun gets pretty hot, so we got pretty badly sunburned that day. Second-degree burns.
Out on the water. Well, we'll learn more about sailing later in the show. Also coming up in the show, many hospitals around the nation have a nursing shortage. We'll tell you how more men are deciding to help meet this need.
And victims of identity theft pay a high price. Sometimes it takes several months and thousands of dollars to clear false debt. We'll talk with a detective to tell us how to prevent this crime.
But first, here's today's news with Sarah Spencer.
Thanks, Monty and Jill. President Bush was in Australia Thursday to thank the Parliament for all its assistance in the war with Iraq. Once again, the president justified the decision to go to war with Iraq. 2 senators were ordered out of the chambers for heckling the president. Green Party Senator Bob Brown said he wanted to draw the attention to the plight of Australians being held at the naval base in Cuba. Outside Parliament, citizens marched in anti-war protests. The rally began to turn violent when many of the protesters began to scuffle with police. The trip to Australia wraps up President Bush's 6-nation tour of the Pacific Rim. In Baghdad, U.S. troops detonated a car full of explosives Thursday. The car was stopped near a U.S. military compound. 3 men were taken into custody when troops suspected there may be a bomb threat. 2 of the men are believed to be Iraqis. Military officials believe the men were targeting citizens who commute to Baghdad for work. Safety has always been a leading concern for the airline industry. One issue that has surfaced in recent years is pilots drinking and flying. A former pilot is sharing his story about the consequences of mixing the airways with alcohol. Retired Northwest Airlines pilot Lyle Prowse recently spoke to aviation students at the University of North Dakota about how alcoholism affected his career as a pilot. In 1990, Prowse was convicted of flying while intoxicated. He spent 16 months in a federal prison and lost all his pilot licenses. He went through treatment and was hired back by Northwest after he re-earned all his flying certificates. President Clinton also granted him a pardon. Now retired, he shares his story around the country.
My hope is that if somebody can hear something that may help them stay out of the ditch, as it were, then the trip's worthwhile.
The number of pilots arrested for drinking and flying has been declining for the last few years. For more than 30 years, alcoholic pilots have used treatment programs to help them recover and return to the cockpit. In the near future, the clothes heart patients wear may save their lives. In Amsterdam, researchers are developing and testing underwear that can detect heart rhythm problems. The bras and shorts contain sensors sewn into them that connect to a chip which monitors the heart. If the person wearing the sensors has a heart attack, the system can trigger medical help. Researchers say the sensors would not even have to touch the patient's skin. The high-tech undergarments can also be put in the washing machine. It could be about 3 years before these clothes come on the market. Males make up less than 6% of the nursing workforce in the U.S., but the growing need for more nurses and a change in attitudes are helping these numbers to grow. Men are now becoming a more common sight in nursing schools nationwide.
Put over your left eye.
Better pay, career mobility, and job opportunities are leading men into a profession dominated by women. Nursing has been characterized as a career for females for centuries, but universities are beginning to notice a climb in the number of males applying to nursing schools.
You don't see the discrepancy you used to see. And I think because of that, more males go into nursing, because they know they're accepted, because they know it's a comparable type of a profession.
Brandon Arbach is a senior at the University of North Dakota School of Nursing. He says male nurses are often the targets of teasing and jokes, but the stereotyping doesn't bother him.
I just kind of laugh it up myself, I guess. So the girls in the class are real nice about it. They don't give us a lot of crap.
Arbach says men should look into the field more because of the wide variety of positions available.
There's so many opportunities in nursing. You can work critical care, you can work pediatrics, OB. So there's just so many options that a guy can do in nursing.
Universities are finding that male students are often more interested in leadership positions in the medical workforce. This is resulting in many male pre-nursing students to switch to the pre-med field. But many nurse practitioners agree that males holding staff positions give the same quality of care that female nurses provide.
When we see them in the classroom, they're very much that same caring, compassionate type individual that we see in our female students.
The number of male nursing students is rising, but with hospitals facing a severe nursing shortage, those in the healthcare field hope even more men will take up the profession. I'm Megan Floggen, reporting for Studio One News.
The U.S. expects a shortage of more than 400,000 registered nurses by 2010. And that's news for now. Monty and Jill?
Thanks, Sarah. Well, it's that time of year now where you never know what kind of weather you're going to get from one day to the next.
I agree. Halloween's kind of iffy. It can be warm one minute, cold the next. You never know what you're going to get when you go out trick-or-treating. Let's go check in with BJ Eisen at the Regional Weather Information Center, and he can tell us all about the temperatures around the nation.
Well, Monty and Jill, like you said, we're seeing changing conditions now that fall is starting to settle upon us. We're seeing temperatures in the triple digits down to the southwest, but snowflakes off to the northeast. Before we get into anything, let's take a look at our average temperatures and conditions for this week in October. North Dakota's averages are 52 and 28, Minneapolis 53 and 35, and Portland 58 and 46. And we've included on here October precip, which is the monthly normal precip that they should receive. North Dakota is a little bit below their inch and 2600s. Otherwise, Portland a little bit over an inch and 3/4 for the month of October. What's happening with the polar jet stream is that we are seeing a very big ridge off to the west, and that is creating much above average temperatures for them. A big, huge trough in the jet stream. This big dip in the jet stream is called a trough, and that's creating below average temperatures and even those snow showers off to the north and east. But here's your departure from normal, and like I said, very cold off to the north and east with temperatures anywhere from 10 to 15 degrees below average. Otherwise, the western 2/3 of the nation staying well above average for this time of year. Same goes for low temperatures, mainly the western section of the United States having very comfortable overnight temperatures. What's going to happen with the jet stream is it's going to start to change just a touch, where this trough is going to dig further south, create a little bit cooler conditions for the eastern section of the U.S., but otherwise above average temperatures off to the west. Here's what's happening with national weather. It's kind of a puzzle of fronts for right now, but you can break it down into air masses. This one is kind of a cool air mass associated with this high pressure moving this way. We have a warm system moving up this way. All these systems are clashing, creating some rain showers here, sort of in the central sections. Otherwise, these cool fronts are going to merge together, creating a bigger, cooler air mass. So temperatures should be reaching back towards average. Cold front draped with some showers moving across the eastern section of the U.S. Otherwise, mostly sunny skies and high pressure for much of the country. And then we do see another system moving in off the Canadian border, bringing a few rain showers for northern Minnesota. Here's your Studio One Weather IQ question. Which fall month does the northern U.S. experience its peak duck migration? You have a few fall months there ranging from September all the way to December. Monty and Jill?
Thanks, BJ.
Do you have any kind of a guess on what it would be?
I'm going to go for October, just because, it's hunting season. It's probably, if I was a duck, I'd want to get out of here.
Okay, well, I'll take September then, if you're taking October. All right, it's time now to go to sports news with Greg Ankers.
Thanks, Monty and Jill. New York Yankees pitcher Roger Clemens has slowed very little with age. With 310 wins and nearly 4,100 strikeouts in his career, Clemens looks to give the Yankees a commanding lead in the 2003 World Series in what's thought to be the Rockets' final start. What would Game 4 bring? Pick it up in the bottom of the first. Miguel Cabrera gets the Marlins off to a fast start with his opposite field home run, 2-run shot to right. We'll flash now to the bottom of the seventh with history in the making as Roger Clemens strikes out Luis Castillo for what could be the final pitch in his amazing career. Top of the ninth, 3-1 Florida. Let the drama begin. 2 on and 2 out for Ruben Sierra as he laces one down the right field line. Both runs will come up and score as the ball gets hung up in the corner. We're going to extra innings. Bottom of the 12th, Jeff Weaver pitching flawlessly until Alex Gonzalez takes a shot to left, just clearing the wall, and the World Series is tied up at 2 games apiece as the Marlins win a 4-3 thriller. Virginia Tech and West Virginia college football now in the first quarter. KJ Harris of the Mountaineers takes the handoff to the outside. He'll rumble in untouched, 7-0 West Virginia. In the third quarter, West Virginia puts it away with a great play fake by Rasheed Marshall as he finds Travis Garvin open in the middle of the field. And in a word, he's gone. 93 yards later, West Virginia goes on to win 28-7 for the biggest upset in the school's history. After the game, chaos broke out in Morgantown as the fierce competition between Virginia Tech and West Virginia fired up the Mountaineers fans. Many of the 56,000 fans in attendance rushed the field after the victory to take down the goalposts. They were stopped short by security guards and police who were using pepper spray to disperse the rowdy fans. The spray halted most of the crowd but also drifted into the stands and irritated the eyes of bystanders. Meanwhile, outside the stadium, many Mountaineer fans started partying, causing a riot. 3 fires were reported after the game. They were put out immediately. West Virginia's coach had asked fans not to start bonfires, which has become a Morgantown tradition. There is no official number of how many were hurt or arrested. It's now time for the Studio One Sports Trivia question. What NHL team lost 71 games in a season? I have a list of teams that have had some pretty tough years there. We'll have that answer and more sports later on. Monty and Jill?
Thanks, Greg. A new psychological thriller is coming to theaters. Coming up, we'll preview Meg Ryan's newest film.
Also, identity theft is in the rise on the United States. The Federal Trade Commission is the number of complaints has rose 88% from 2001 to 2002. We'll talk with the detective who will tell us more about this crime.
Explore the educational opportunities available through the Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota. With just one phone call or a click of the mouse, you'll find high-quality programs designed for today's adults. We have a large selection of continuing education courses that are available at a time and place that's convenient for you. Discover a world of learning through the Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota.
The School of Engineering and Mines at UND has a long history of preparing students for successful careers. Through small classes and faculty involvement, students have unique opportunities to gain hands-on experience. Here, students launch a weather balloon to test a remote imaging device destined for Earth orbit. Students can also become involved in wind energy and fuel cell projects, design, build, and race a Formula One car, or even develop a camera that will generate agricultural images from the International Space Station. Find out for yourself how you can get involved at UND School of Engineering and Mines.
The University of North Dakota College of Business and Public Administration offers real degrees for real people. Our nationally recognized faculty can help you earn a master's degree in business through evening classes.
Taking these evening classes were very convenient for me, and that's how I was able to complete the program.
We offer degrees for people who work, raise families, and lead busy lives. The UND College of Business and Public Administration, real degrees for real people.
Let the University of North Dakota become your strategic partner by providing your business with skills to enhance your workforce retention and productivity efforts. The UND Office of Workforce Development has extensive experience in conducting employee satisfaction research, workforce needs assessments, and the development of customized training materials. Call us for further information. Workforce Development, a service of the Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota.
You're watching Studio One, news, weather, sports, and entertainment.
Identity theft is a serious crime. According to the Federal Trade Commission, almost 10 million Americans were victims last year. Sergeant Jim Remer is here to tell us how to protect ourselves. Thanks for coming on the show today.
You're welcome.
Well, first of all, how common is it to become a victim of this crime?
Well, actually, we're pretty lucky in North Dakota because it isn't very common. We're one of the lowest, we are the lowest per capita for victims in the United States, but yet we still have to be careful with our information and to harden ourselves so that we don't become victims.
Okay. What exactly is identity theft?
Well, identity theft has many different definitions, and it is difficult because of that to put a good handle on the numbers and things like that. But identity theft, as we look at it in North Dakota, is someone takes your personal information, your name, your address, your date of birth, and then uses that information for some type of personal gain to either buy property or services, or maybe they use it to get some money or something like that.
Okay. Give us an actual example of say, how someone might give out their information and someone might take it and do something with it.
Well, some of the ways might be that you get a telephone call from someone that says they have to verify your information for a credit card company. Unknowingly, you give that to them, but they're a thief. They're an identity theft person. So they take that information, they get a new credit card in your name, and they then use that card to charge up a whole bunch of things on your name and using your credit.
Okay. Now you mentioned someone just calling you up on the telephone and asking for your information. What are some other ways that they might get that information?
There's been instances where thieves have gotten it from using your mail. They steal your mail, get account numbers and things like that from there. It's happened where they set up a fake website where they then phish the information, it's called. They take your information off the website. It looks very similar to a normal website that you might use that you're dealing with, but they use that information and then use it for whatever evil needs that they have.
Okay. Once somebody becomes a victim, their information has been stolen, and then they find that out somehow because they obviously start getting charges put against their credit card, say, or something like that. What happens then? What happens when you're a victim? What's the biggest thing that's going to happen to you
Well,
now?
The biggest thing probably is that your credit rating is going to be shot until you can get it fixed. That's why it's important, as soon as you find out that you've been a victim or you believe you've been a victim, it's important to file a police report with your local police agency. That kind of gets the ball rolling. You'll want to contact the 3 major credit bureaus so that they can flag your credit history, so that if then someone tries to use your information and say open a new charge account, they would call you to verify that you are the one that's actually doing that. So you have to take some steps then to get your good credit back.
Okay. So the steps then, as soon as you find out, is call a credit bureau?
Right. There's 3 major credit bureaus, and they're accessible through the internet. If you go to www.consumer.gov, that's a website that the federal government has started, but it has a lot of good information for consumers on there. And there's one area for victims of identity theft, and it helps them, walks them through the process of what they need to do.
How common is it after this happens that a person will get stuck with debt?
Well, it does happen sometimes, and that's why it's important that as soon as the victim finds out, they make sure that they work the best they can to let the credit card companies know, the credit bureaus, to assist the police department, because there might be a suspect that we can track down and eventually charge out for this.
How long of a process is this?
It can actually go on for quite a while. Unfortunately, it can be a large lag time for us even to find out that it's occurring, or for the victim to find out that it's occurring. So it can be a long time before they even find out. Then it's just a long process to get the information out there and to find out what's going on. So it could be several months or even a year before it's all taken care of and settled.
Okay. How does the law enforcement help out in this?
Well, law enforcement, we, to the best of our ability, will try to investigate the situation and track down the person that's doing it. At times that's difficult, but we do get a lot of cooperation from the federal government, from the federal agencies, and also at the other end, usually, of the situation, the victim might be here in Grand Forks, but the suspect originates in California. So we would contact those local agencies for assistance. So we try the best we can to work that side of it. Then we also give the victim information on who they should contact, how to, they should cancel their credit cards or anything like that, cancel checking accounts if that's affected. And beforehand, we try to give out information. We do here in Grand Forks through our Community Service Bureau. We have some information and some presentations available for people so they can get some information before it happens.
And
might happen.
what is it, the best tip that you would say to give people to try and prevent this crime before it happens?
Be very careful on who you give your information to. If someone out of the blue excuse me, calls you and wants some type of personal information, don't give it out very freely. Be very tight with that information and only give it out when you're positive that it's the correct person or company that's calling you.
All right. Thanks a lot for coming on the program and sharing this important information.
Thank you.
Coming up, injuries are an unfortunate part of most sporting events. We'll tell you how one clinic is catering to the needs of injured athletes. Also, cooking can be a relaxing pastime for some people. For others, it is a fast-paced way of life. Later, we'll see how one unique chef does his job.
University of North Dakota. Let the University of North Dakota become your strategic partner by providing your business with skills to enhance your workforce retention and productivity efforts. The UND Office of Workforce Development has extensive experience in conducting employee satisfaction research, workforce needs assessments, and the development of customized training materials. Call us for further information. Workforce Development, a service of the Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota. Explore the educational opportunities available through the Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota. With just one phone call or a click of the mouse, you'll find high-quality programs designed for today's adults. We have a large selection of continuing education courses that are available at a time and place that's convenient for you. Discover a world of learning through the Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota.
Meg Ryan takes a departure from her usual roles in her latest movie, In the Cut. She plays a quiet English professor who finds herself in trouble. Ryan's character knows about the murder of a girl in her neighborhood and ends up risking her life trying to help solve the case. She gets involved with a detective and finds that love can be dangerous. Ryan says she was allowed to show a much darker side with this character than her commonly known comedic roles.
One of the requirements of being a human being is to surrender to the evolution of your soul, no matter how terrifying it might be. And Franny, that's Franny's journey.
The movie is directed by Jane Campion, who also directed the Oscar-winning movie The Piano. Campion's work is known for always having a heroine as a star. In the Cut opens October 24th in theaters everywhere. Now it's time to look at the events happening in your area. A trip to a restaurant sometimes offers an experience from another land. However, it usually doesn't include the customer in the cooking process. Today, we take a trip to the Mongolian barbecue.
Food has bridged different cultures together for years. At this Mongolian barbecue in Grand Forks, North Dakota, different cultures are an everyday find. Stacia Mitchell has lived in the U.S. all of her life. She's getting the chance to work with people from different backgrounds.
It's kind of fun, working with all of them, and I can actually understand what they're saying to me now.
Preparation of the food might be the most interesting part of the job. It takes practice and the outcome is entertaining.
He always tries to get me to, but I won't. I'm scared of burning myself.
Trung Nugent brought the idea of a Mongolian restaurant to the area. He wasn't always a master chef.
I just cook for myself first, not for customer. I did burn myself too. Sometimes the noodle dropped to my hand and just burned my hand a lot when I just started.
Customers enjoy the interesting ways of cooking as well as the end result.
I thought it was great. I like it. I like it when they flip it over their head. It's really good. I like it because it's fresh and you see what goes in it and you don't have to pick anything out.
Each chef has their own way of using the cooking materials.
It's just like the way you hold your pan. Every people, they have the different way to hold the pan, so every people, they have different way to hold the bowl.
Every customer has their own idea of the right amount of food.
All the customer, they build up the bowl as much as they can, and some people, they put the pea pot around the bowl to make the bigger bowl so they can take it home for leftover for next day.
In this restaurant, the mixture of cultures working together is just as significant as the mixture of ingredients. With photographer Jessica Denny, I'm Carrie Versdahl reporting for Studio One.
There's a difference between Mongolian barbecue and Mongolian grill. Barbecuing is traditionally done outdoors, while grilling is usually done indoors. The sport of sailing has been around for years. It can be done as a recreational activity or competitively. Later, we'll meet with a woman who feels as comfortable on the water as she does on land. Also, customizing cars has become a popular hobby for some. We'll see how people can tweak their rides. That story plus news, sports, and weather in the next half hour of Studio One.
North Dakota has been home to many successful entrepreneurs. George Bull and his partners found value in farina, the whitest part of wheat, and created cream of wheat. Patrick Haggerty is the founder of one of the nation's high-tech giants, Texas Instruments. And Raymond Rood's product has been used in every Olympic competition since 1960. He is responsible for the modern diving board. Ryan Foltz is the first graduate of the UND Entrepreneurship Program. Are you next?
The University of North Dakota Alumni Association and Foundation, together with thousands of alumni and friends, are making a difference at UND. Thanks to generous private support, many students have experienced the rich history, tradition, and spirit of the University of North Dakota. UND alumni and friends understand the importance of education and are proud to be part of UND's growth and success. Learn how your gift to the UND Foundation can benefit you and your university. You can make a difference.
Earn a degree in engineering while you continue to work. The University of North Dakota's Distance Engineering degree program offers the only ABET accredited undergraduate degree program at a distance. Instructors and classes are delivered to you through online lectures and condensed on-campus laboratories.
It's convenient, it's flexible, and it's a quality education.
UND Continuing Education and the School of Engineering and Mines, teaming up to bring quality education to your door.
Tradition runs deep among American Indian people. One of those traditions is helping others. At the University of North Dakota, American Indian Student Services is dedicated to helping students succeed. Our support services include tutoring and financial aid assistance. We have more American Indian programs than any other university in the U.S., making UND a leader in Indian education. Be a part of our tradition. Call 1-800-CALL-UND.
From the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, this is Studio One.
Welcome back to Studio One.
Thanks for joining us today.
Well, as you can tell, Halloween's around the corner.
That's right. Look, we got pumpkins on the set all over the place.
Right, this is our festiveness going on here.
We didn't carve them, though. They're styrofoam. Oh.
Later on in the show, we actually went around and asked people what their craziest costume has been that they've, been for Halloween. Mm-hmm. And by the way you're looking at me, I'm kind of wondering what yours has been.
Mine? My crazy? Well, I'm a procrastinator at Halloween, so I usually go home and whatever's in the closet, I try and mix.
Okay,
There was
what was
one
it?
time I actually put water on my face, then I put a bunch of flour on my face to try and make it dry, and I basically looked like a flaking cookie all night. My wife had no idea what I was. I have no idea what I was.
Oh, goodness.
We look forward to that segment coming up. Also coming up in the next 30 minutes on Studio One, it's crucial for those in law enforcement to know when it's appropriate to use lethal force. We'll tell you how officers are getting lifelike training without ever firing a real shot.
Also, some recent movies have made customizing cars more popular. Later, we'll see how it can be done.
And they come in all shapes, sizes, and styles. Buying one can be expensive, but you can use it for a lifetime. We'll talk with someone who sails boats competitively. And that should be interesting. I've never heard anyone talk with a real sailor before. And you're talking to her.
Well, she's not your typical sailor.
Yeah, excellent. Well, before we get to all of that, here's today's news with Sarah Spencer.
Thanks, Monty and Jill. Firefighters in Southern California are battling several wildfires. Emergency personnel are coping with high temperatures and anticipating extreme Santa Ana winds. About 200 residents have been asked to evacuate their homes. One fire came close to an area east of Camp Pendleton, threatening an additional 300 residences. The Red Cross has set up temporary shelters for the evacuees. So far, property damage is estimated to be around $2 million. More than 7,000 acres have burned so far. The area is experiencing triple-digit temperatures, which are expected to continue into the next few days. However, residents in Massachusetts are experiencing much different temperatures, where they got a taste of winter early. Snow has been falling in the western and central parts of the state. The chilly weather is not expected to last much longer. Temperatures are anticipated to rise into the 60s by the end of the week. When you dial 911 from your home, a dispatcher automatically receives your name and address. But when calling with a cell phone, this feature is not always available. The House is currently considering a bill that will enhance emergency response systems. If passed into law, it would provide $500 million in grants to help upgrade 911 equipment. Currently, only 10% of 911 centers in the U.S. can locate a cell phone caller accurately. With more money, dispatchers could use global positioning systems to get the exact coordinates of someone on a mobile phone.
911, what's your emergency?
You can simply grab your cell phone and call 911, and that's the important part in this day and age. People are able to get 911 quicker, and we can get the emergency services out to people faster.
Emergency dispatchers are seeing more calls from cell phones than ever before. People are not just using cell phones for themselves, but also to report accidents they may witness while on the road. There may be new hope for babies whose mothers have HIV. New studies at Johns Hopkins University show that AIDS drugs given to babies after birth can protect them from being infected with HIV by their mothers. The research found that giving the drugs to newborns reduced the baby's chances of contracting HIV by 36%. The treatment is given to infected mothers during pregnancy and then to the infants after they are born. It offers a way to prevent HIV transmission to babies whose mothers were not tested before pregnancy. These drugs could also be used to prevent the spread of HIV through breast milk. Knowing when to fire a weapon can be difficult for those in law enforcement. They often only have a split second to make that choice. But learning to make those fast decisions is easier with the help of some special equipment.
This may look like a giant video game, but it's actually an important life-size training tool for law enforcement. It's called the Firearms Training System, or FAT Simulator. Here in Grand Forks, North Dakota, and at many sites around the U.S., officers are using it to train for real-life situations. Officers are taken through a variety of scenarios and are judged on their performance.
Back it up! FATS stands for Firearm Training System. It's an interactive video training program that puts officers in high-risk situations where they have to make the proper judgment based on their training background and experience.
Officers use a calibrated machine that shows where a target has been hit or missed, and they must give rationale for their actions.
What this does is put that officer in that situation, and it requires them to make that judgment that is so critical in law enforcement. Being able to test judgment, to practice judgment based on all of your training, your background and experience.
One officer says the simulator gives him on-the-job experience.
The FAT system undoubtedly brings the officer the stress level
not being on the street and having it going on directly, involving traffic stops, confrontation with individuals. You get your heart pumping and your palms sweating. It's very good, realistic training.
And officers say by learning the right decisions here, they hope to make the correct choices in the real world.
Get back in the car!
With photographer Charles Moore, I'm Heidi Murray reporting for Studio One News.
The firearms training system costs more than $75,000. It's used by law enforcement agencies around the U.S. at least once a year. And that's news for now. Monty and Jill?
Thanks, Sarah. What a great way to train the police.
Well, we need to be prepared. Well, now it's time to check in with BJ Eisen at the Regional Weather Information Center and see how those national forecasts is going.
Well, Monty and Jill, it looks like conditions will be wetter towards the east and drier in the west. Let's take a look at that national forecast for this week. As you can see, that rain showers off in the northeast, along with those snow showers, will be moving off the east coast, bringing some more sunshine for them. Otherwise, we do see more rain showers and thunderstorms moving into the central section of the U.S., along with that another little system in the midwestern region. Otherwise, sunny and partly cloudy skies off to the west, allowing some flood relief for those in Washington. The sunshine should be drying them out. Autumn is a time of change. Temperatures get cooler, trees lose their leaves, and the first snowfall is just around the corner. But leaves and snowflakes are not the only things seen flying through the sky.
You may expect to see certain things every fall. Farmers in the field, changing colors across the landscape, and the local water hole most likely has new visitors. Autumn signals the great migrations of ducks throughout North America.
Duck migration is highly variable. There are a lot of ducks that nest in the lower 48 contiguous states, and some of them, mallards, for instance, might only migrate as far south as they have to find open water and feed.
These feathery bundles often begin their travels when the first freeze of the year approaches their nesting grounds. Depending upon the species, ducks may travel various distances to find that perfect winter getaway.
There's been a case of a pintail that was banded up in Alaska that was harvested down in Guatemala. So, they might migrate anywhere from, 400 or 500 miles up to 5,000 as that pintail. So it's highly variable.
Just as the robin is a sure sign of spring, ducks surely are the stewards of fall. Reporting for Studio One, this is Matt Benz.
The U.S. sees about 83 million migrating ducks traveling through the skies each year. Here's a recap to your Studio One Weather IQ question. Which fall month does the northern U.S. experience its peak duck migration? And the answer is the month of October. So Monty and Jill, back to you.
Well, now we're talking about fall migration, correct? Well, the birds are going to have to come up north again. When is spring migration?
Well, the spring migration kind of depends on how harsh the winter is. Usually it's towards the end of March or the beginning of April, but it's a lot less dense than the fall migration.
Okay. Thank you very much, BJ.
All right. Lots of birds, and it's fun watching them all go back and forth, isn't it?
It is. I was right about October.
All right. It's also fun to watch Greg Ankers do the sports. Let's go to him now.
Thanks, Monty and Jill. For many athletes, recovering from an injury can be a lengthy process. It can take days to wait for an appointment, and the wear and tear on the injury in the meantime can do even more damage. But there is one place athletes can go to get immediate attention the day after many injuries occur.
The football season can sometimes be long and grueling for the players. This can lead to all kinds of injuries. Trips to the ER or waiting until Monday to see a doctor can be a major inconvenience for many players. Thanks to a program offered by this clinic in Grand Forks, North Dakota, players can get assistance from a physical therapist or orthopedic surgeon the day after games are played.
A lot of the kids being injured on Friday night didn't have to go to the emergency room, but yet they still needed some care on a timely basis.
While many visitors arrive weekly, some players take advantage of this clinic for other reasons. Multi-sport athletes such as Ryan McLean come to the clinic for checkups between seasons.
It goes all the way from someone who actually they injured their hand or injured their knee and were able to play throughout the whole football season, and they're coming in at the end just because they want to make sure that they're ready to go for a basketball season coming up.
Ryan is here for just this reason. He's been dealing with hand and ankle injuries much of the football season. With the help of the clinic, Ryan is now assured he can play basketball starting later this fall.
Hurt my finger, and I wanted to make sure if it was broke or not, and it isn't. So, good news there.
The clinic's main advantages are timing and convenience. The ability to see patients the day after games are played gives football players from all around the Grand Forks area a chance to stop in.
One, it prevents them from doing any more injury or any more harm, and two, it's not a school day. They don't have to miss school, they don't have to miss any practice.
Clinics like this one are common across the U.S., and healthcare facilities are finding out they are filling a need.
They've seen the benefit of it, not just for themselves, obviously, but for the benefit of the athlete and for parents that want to know what's going on with these things.
Athletes like Ryan know firsthand the benefits of these programs and can now get a head start on their recoveries.
The clinic would like to see the program become more year-round, but because it's sometimes hard to get enough volunteers to run it, it will continue to remain open just in the fall. Now the answer to this week's Studio One Sports Trivia question: what NHL team lost a record 71 games in a season? And the answer is D, the San Jose Sharks. Had a pretty tough year in 1992 and 1993. However, that was just their second season in existence. That's the sports for now. Monty and Jill?
Thanks, Greg. Well, we'll soon be seeing ghosts, witches, and pumpkins. Halloween is in the air. Coming up, we'll talk to people about their best costumes.
And many popular movies today show customized vehicles. We'll see how a person can make their own car look like something straight off the big screen.
The A. Kirk Lanterman Investment Center at the University of North Dakota brings Wall Street to the prairie. This state-of-the-art facility in the College of Business and Public Administration provides hands-on experience in the world of modern finance. Students learn how financial markets react with lightning quickness to world events. They use cutting-edge technology and real-time data from more than 200 financial markets around the world. The Lanterman Investment Center provides the tools to make a career out of an education.
There are many things to be found at the University of North Dakota School of Law. You will find a place with small class settings, an affordable place that offers student interaction with both the state and federal court systems. You will find a school that has averaged over 90% placement for its graduates the past 5 years. But most importantly, you will find the skills and experience you'll need throughout your legal career. Find your future at the University of North Dakota School of Law.
Explore the educational opportunities available through the Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota. With just one phone call or a click of the mouse, you'll find high-quality programs designed for today's adults. We have a large selection of continuing education courses that are available at a time and place that's convenient for you. Discover a world of learning through the Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota.
You're watching Studio One, honored by the Northwest Broadcast News Association for excellence in cable television.
Halloween is the time of year when people can put on a new face and be something different. Those faces go beyond witches, ghosts, and other familiar costumes. We wanted your thoughts on the most creative costume you've seen.
One of the things we did was we'd pick a Bible character, and we had a party in church, and our kids were two animals from Noah's Ark, and I was the woman at the well. I had a big urn and a nice long gown, and my husband, whose name is Paul, went as the Apostle Paul.
As a Colorado Avalanche fan, I saw a gentleman come in with a Steve Yzerman captain's jersey on and a bright pink tutu with tights on, and that made my Halloween.
Last year, I had a friend who broke her back, and she had surgery. So she had a bunch of stitches down her back, big long row of stitches down her back. And so she dressed up in brown pants and a brown shirt and cut the back out of it, and she was a football for Halloween.
Gene Simmons, because he's the best, he's my favorite band, and I'm going to the concert coming up.
My sister-in-law was due with her first child on November 1st. She went to a Halloween party dressed as an M&M because she was 9 months pregnant.
Many people enjoy taking care of their cars. For some, this means more than just an oil change. Some take car care to a new level.
Custom-made parts, Hot Wheels, and horsepower to match. These are standard components in Shane Noble's car. He's been modifying cars since he was a kid.
There was really no place else in town to get your windows tinted, and I had done that in high school for friends and for myself. And I was working at a local electronics store, and there was a lot of people asking for window tinting.
Shane soon expanded his service to include more than window tinting. People also wanted car accessories, wheels, and vehicle modifications.
There's just many different things that people can do to their cars, and we basically carry everything for that.
Shane met his shop manager through a common interest in fast cars.
We raced at the track, and I beat him once, he beat me once, and then I blew my transmission out. So I guess he got the best of me on that one.
Movies like Too Fast and Too Furious has helped boost the interest in style cars. Businesses that specializes in this type of services has felt a growing demand among young people that want something more than just a regular car.
It's just giving everybody a more broad knowledge of what's available and what they can do to their vehicle. People are starting to realize that you can take an inexpensive car and turn it into a nice show car or fairly fast car for not a lot of money.
With these modified cars, the urge to show off often ends up in street races. Not only are these illegal, but they can also be fatal.
It's never going to go away. It was here, 60 years ago, and it's not going anywhere. If anything, it's probably growing.
Shane has lost friends in street racing. He's trying to get more people to take their cars to events and racetracks where people can compete safely without getting hurt. As much as Shane loves cars, he respects the possible dangers involved. With photographer Frode Tilden, I'm Stan Brown reporting for Studio One.
Shane says his business is trying to work with the county sheriff's department and city police to keep racers off the street. Well, before there were planes, trains, and automobiles, boats were the main mode of transportation. Next, we'll meet a sailor from an international women's sailing competition.
University of North Dakota. No matter what your schedule, no matter when you work, no matter what job you have now, this is your opportunity to accomplish your goals. Degrees After Hours at the University of North Dakota can work around your busy schedule. Bachelor and master's degrees are earned through convenient, flexible, and high-quality classes. Complete degrees are available online through correspondence study and on weekends and evenings. Earn a degree on your terms with Degrees After Hours at the University of North Dakota. Let the University of North Dakota become your strategic partner by providing your business with skills to enhance your workforce retention and productivity efforts. The UND Office of Workforce Development has extensive experience in conducting employee satisfaction research, workforce needs assessments, and the development of customized training materials. Call us for further information. Workforce Development, a service of the Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota.
The UND College of Business and Public Administration is reaching out to rural America. The Government Rural Outreach Initiative is working to connect you with important information you need. Use the internet to access government services such as employment opportunities, license renewals, applications for government benefits, and much more. The Government Rural Outreach Initiative is funded with the support of the North Dakota Congressional Delegation. To learn how we are helping you get connected, visit go.ndgrow.com.
The School of Engineering and Mines at UND has a long history of preparing students for successful careers. Through small classes and faculty involvement, students have unique opportunities to gain hands-on experience. Here, students launch a weather balloon to test a remote imaging device destined for Earth orbit. Students can also become involved in wind energy and fuel cell projects, design, build, and race a Formula One car, or even develop a camera that will generate agricultural images from the International Space Station. Find out for yourself how you can get involved at UND School of Engineering and Mines.
Sailing is one of those sports that takes strength, mental stamina, and skills. The Women's International Rolex Competition is an annual sailing event where sailors come from all over the world and come together to race. Joining us today is Rolex competitor Angie Spence to talk with us about the art of sailing. Thanks for coming on the show, Angie.
Not a problem.
Now, how long have you been sailing, and how did you get started?
Well, I've been sailing pretty much my entire life. My parents actually own a boat up on Lake Superior, so since I was born, I've been up on there, but that was more cruising and stuff like that. And then I got into racing 14 or 15, and that was a totally different experience. It was big boats and little boats, and a big boat is like 40 feet or longer, and a small boat would be like a 22, or so it kind of gives you a perspective. But it kind of happened not by chance, more or less, because someone was like, hey, you want to come out? And I was like, okay. So next thing I know, I was racing. And once you get into the community of racing, and it's a very small little group of us in Minnesota and stuff. So once I got in there, your name kind of floats around, and you kind of know like what you can do, what you can't do, your size, if you'll fit, if you won't. And then your name just kind of circulates. So that's really how you start to be able to do more races and really get your name out there, so opportunities start to come your direction.
Right. When I think of sailing, I think of the sea, that kind of thing. And you're from Minnesota.
Yep.
Where do you practice?
Well, I live in Minneapolis, so you have Lake Minnetonka and you have a few other little lakes around you, but that's where I did like a lot of the small boat stuff, like the 22s and like the smaller boats. So that's where a lot of my competitive races took place, was out on Lake Minnetonka, out in Wayzata and stuff. But then the big boat races, which I also do a lot of, was up on Lake Superior, which is obviously quite obvious, a good place to, race and stuff. So every summer I'd spend most of my summers in high school and stuff up there. And then, excuse me, during the summer I'd, go up there. But being in North Dakota in the winter really doesn't seem to, take away from sailing in Minnesota, because it's mainly the summers and stuff that a lot of the sailing happens.
Right. Can you tell me about the Rolex Cup and other competitions that you've been participating in?
The Rolex Cup in particular was something that I was so excited to be invited to do, because it's all women. It was 247 women, and it's mainly, it was so cool just to be surrounded by that type of environment where you got women of different skill levels and stuff, and they had so much to teach me and so much that I could learn from. So being invited to that environment was just almost hard to believe, it was so overwhelming to be there. But the Rolex in particular was just one of those that you just kind of take, and it's so large scale. I mean, it's the Rolex, it's like all these women. There's Olympic competitors, there's professional sailors, and then there's the amateur class, which, myself and many others were in. So it's just a huge group and an honor to be there. But other races that I've done has been like the MC Nationals, which is smaller boats once again. They're about 16 feet, and that's men and women. So to be able to go to something like the Rolex where it's just women just kind of puts you in like a league of your own, and you feel like you're kind of competing against very similar people. So it's not like men versus women. It's very similar. So it was very fun.
Now, the Rolex competition was just a women's international competition. Do men dominate sailing, the sport?
Overall, I would say yes, men are a dominant force in the sailing community, only because most of the boats are very large, and so they're very powerful, and you need that extra bulk and that extra muscle, and men are able to provide that quite, a little bit easier than what a woman would. But I think more and more, as women are becoming more competitive and extremely more athletic and stuff, women are starting to, kind of hold their own in the sport, because what used to be only be able to do, men could do. Now women are, starting to find ways to be able to do those things and to prepare our bodies and to eat certain meals, and it's very strict. I mean, for the Rolex in particular, we had to be a certain weight as a crew. We had to be only 605 pounds for 4 women. So that limits you, but it's almost a benefit to be a woman to only, to be able to fit into that weight category. So those kind of things, are kind of starting to advantage us as women and stuff, and it's not so hard to compete competitively.
And what are the most rewarding aspects of sailing?
Just kind of being able to be out there on the water and to learn so much stuff from all these other women. Especially at the Rolex, it was so fun to be out there on the starting line with 70 other boats, and they're all, you can look at other people and be like, what are they doing differently? Why are they going faster? And to talk to them and to learn from their experiences. Some of these women were from all over the world, South Africa, Brazil, Canada, Mexico, and they sail in different conditions and in different areas of the world. And just to talk to them and be like, why, how did you get here? What's your story? And just to pick up on those and, interact with these women was just one I can't, it'll never be able to be done again. It was great.
Now, sailing seems to me like quite a dangerous sport. Have you had any close calls?
Yes. They're not on purpose and they're not meant to happen, but yeah, I mean, when things go wrong, and if you get a knot in one of your lines and you tip over and stuff isn't going the way you planned, you just kind of hold on and, you know, the boat will definitely come back up. That's the thing about keel boats, where they have a keel on them and that weighs a certain amount of, like on the J22, it's 1,500 pounds. So you do pop back up when the wind is out of your sails and you're able to, you know, rebound and, you know, take a deep breath. But I mean, people get extremely hurt. I mean, one of the boats out at the Rolex, they had women break ribs, break arms, break legs, and you know, it's not a simple like sprain an ankle. I mean, people are getting, it's a real wear and tear on the body. So yeah, things do go wrong, but you just, you know, hopefully you come around and you just, you know, keep going, because the race isn't over just because you have a mishap.
Do you plan on professionally sailing?
No.
Well, you go in all these competitions all the time. Why do you sail?
I think it's therapeutic, really. I mean, for me, it's what makes me happy. I mean, some women like to run and, you know, to relieve stress. And for me, sailing's that time for me just to kind of take a deep breath. And although it is hard and tough, it's really relaxing for me and it's extremely fun. So
great.
Just for the fun.
Thanks for coming on the show with us today, Angie.
Absolutely.
You're watching Studio One from the University of North Dakota. We'll be right back after this.
Tradition runs deep among American Indian people. One of those traditions is helping others. At the University of North Dakota, American Indian Student Services is dedicated to helping students succeed. Our support services include tutoring and financial aid assistance. We have more American Indian programs than any other university in the U.S., making UND a leader in Indian education. Be a part of our tradition. Call 1-800-CALL-UND.
Let the University of North Dakota become your strategic partner by providing your business with skills to enhance your workforce retention and productivity efforts. The UND Office of Workforce Development has extensive experience in conducting employee satisfaction research, workforce needs assessments, and the development of customized training materials. Call us for further information. Workforce Development, a service of the Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota.
Students in this interactive class at the University of North Dakota are learning together with other students from across the state. UND is committed to helping students take courses and even earn degrees without leaving home. I'm Charles Capcella, President of the University of North Dakota. For information on how you can get a UND education wherever you live, check our website at www.und.edu.
The Graduate School at the University of North Dakota is the premier graduate school of the Northern Great Plains, offering advanced degrees in more than 50 fields of study. Our innovative and flexible programs give full-time students, as well as working professionals, the opportunity to study under the guidance of nationally and internationally recognized faculty. Advance your career with a master's or doctoral degree from the Graduate School at the University of North Dakota.
The UND College of Business and Public Administration is reaching out to rural America. The Government Rural Outreach Initiative is working to connect you with important information you need. Use the internet to access government services such as employment opportunities, license renewals, applications for government benefits, and much more. The Government Rural Outreach Initiative is funded with the support of the North Dakota Congressional Delegation. To learn how we are helping you get connected, visit go.ndgrow.com.
Tune in next week on Studio One. There's an activity that has 80 million U.S. participants every year. We'll see what it's like to be the manager of a popular sport of bowling. Plus, we'll have other news and entertainment stories for you.
We're going to leave you now with pictures of ghosts and goblins, courtesy of photographer Tyler Okerlund. From all of us here at Studio One, have a great week.